I want to start by talking about our local Cleveland Cavaliers because I know we have a lot of thoughts on the Cavs, and I know you're going to think I'm crazy with some of these Cavs takes. Let's start off with the first thing, and the listeners of the Branch World podcast know this because I've said this to multiple guests that have come on the show. They had no excuse to losing to the New York Knicks. I did not like the way the season ended at all. They were the better team than the Knicks. I don't care how good Jalen Brunson was in the series. Donovan Mitchell was the best player on the court going into the series. He completely choked the bed. And the Cavs were getting out rebounded and out physicalness by Mitchell Robinson, Opie Toppin, and all those guys left and right. After game one, I said we were in trouble. When the Cavs won game two by 30-ish points, I said we're not winning another game in the series. I think me and you both have the ability to see the negatives in wins and the positives in losses. And I said the Knicks were not going to play that bad again. The Cavs were not going to play that great again. I was right. The Cavs lost the series in 5 games. And then we go to this offseason, Jalen. And listen, I like Max Strus. I think he's a very good player. This Emoni Bates could be a very good player. I like Niang as well, a very good player. Did not like having to give up Lamar Stevens and the Jetty Osmond trade to get Strus, but it is what it is. I still think the Cavs are missing that true legitimate wing to make them contenders, which I'll get to in a second. But what's your thoughts on the offseason?
Jetty, my guy. Now, if you guys follow me on Instagram, Brandon, I know you probably saw this. I was heartbroken when Jetty Osmond got traded. I love that man so much. And you could say, oh, he's streaky. Oh, he's not good. I have this guy, Jetty Osmond, like, even though he wasn't a bucket getter and he wasn't great, he just felt like family, man. He just felt like he was a big piece of the heart of this team. And enough of my sob story. I like Strus a lot. I don't like giving up Lamar Stevens. I wish we could have given up Isaac Okoro for somebody, anybody for Isaac Okoro, because
Okoro drives me nuts.
Okoro is god awful. Just give me how much his contract is worth. I don't even want a player. Just give me my money back, please. Oh my god. And people will say, "Oh, well, he's a dog on the defense side of the ball." I agree. But we didn't lose to New York because we couldn't play defense. Well, that was a big part of it. But we lost to New York because our offense sucked. We were running.
Could not score the ball.
We had Donovan Mitchell disappeared in that series. On paper, best player in the series, right? MVP year, 71 points.
By the way, going into that series, I had Donovan Mitchell as a top 10 player in the NBA. I don't anymore.
No, he Donnie, I love you, man, but you let me down big time. I still love you more than Isaac Okoro. I love anybody more than Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro is awful. Get this. I'd rather sign James Jones again. I'd rather tell him to come out of retirement and take Isaac Okoro's minutes because
he is the GM of the Suns right now. All he has to do is step out of the court and shoot threes. He'd be a better 3-point shooter right now than Okoro.
I know. Anyway, yes, we are missing a true wing, I think Allen needs to go. That's tough to say, but I think Allen needs to go because Allen's soft, and he proved to me that he was a softie. He was getting absolutely bodied against the Knicks. If you have 2 7-footers and can't rebound the ball, what is the point? That is a waste of space.
I agree. But Jalen, let me throw this at you because I've been proposing this, and some people think I'm crazy. Some people think I'm actually onto something. You're probably gonna think I'm crazy. You're gonna say, Brandon, no way. Here's what I propose, okay? I know you're getting nervous around here.
I know what you're gonna say. I know what you're gonna say because I think I'm thinking the same thing.
Okay. The problem with Jared Allen and Evan Mobley is Evan Mobley, to me, is not ready to play the 5. I think his body is perfectly built for the 4. All like Tim Duncan, all like Kevin Garnett. I think he's a perfect 4. I don't think he's ready to play the 5, especially when you're going up against those bigs, Giannis, Embiid, etc. in the Eastern Conference. So, in my opinion, and I don't think Jared Allen's trade value is that high right now anyway because of his playoff performance. So, in my opinion, the only way to improve this team is to get a wing, as we know. And the only way you're going to get a wing is, Jay, when you move Donovan Mitchell to the 1 and you trade Darius Garland.
I agree.
Like that to me, and I have proposed because I don't think Boston would be willing to do a Darius Garland for Jaylen Brown trade, though I think that's the type of magnitude you would get for Darius Garland. So to me, Jaylen, I came up with one team who would make a deal with the Cavs, and both of these players are on the same team. They're both a little bit older. They both have had injury history. But I think it would make sense for both sides. And even if you don't get 82 games out of these guys, if they're healthy for the playoffs, that's all that matters. Jalen, you call the Los Angeles Clippers and you trade Darius Garland and you ask them, would you give us Kawhi Leonard or Paul George? One of the two. We'll take one of them. If we have to throw in a Okoro, we can throw in a Okoro to make the money work.
Please throw in a corner.
But I know, and there's a lot of reservation on my part too because of Kawhi Leonard's injury history, and I understand it, and Paul George as well. But if you have Mitchell at the 1, LeVert at the 2, and LeVert drives me nuts sometimes, but he can score the basketball, and you have, one of Paul George or Kawhi Leonard at the 3, Mobley at the 4, Allen at the 5. Coming off the bench, you still would have Rubio, Struz, Niang, Emoni Bates. That's a real team, in my opinion. And by the way, I'm going to make one more point before you go. Outside of Golden State, obviously with Stephen Clay, and by the way, Clay was a bigger 2. He was a 6'7" 2. I don't think you can win an NBA championship with your 2 primary scorers being in the backcourt and then both being similar size at 6'1", the way Garland and Mitchell are, which is why I never thought Garland and Sexton would work. And here we are again in the same situation.
See, you know how close how close Paul George was to being a Cavalier a few years ago.
I talked about this with Clarence the other day on Brands World. Clarence Wilson, you guys can go back and listen to it. I said at that time, I think the Cavs made the right decision not trading Kevin Love.
I agree, but I think this is the time that PG becomes a Cavalier. I love Paul George. I know he's injury prone. I know he's older, but I love Paul George. I've always loved Paul George. I was one of the few kids who said, hey, Brant, I would come up to you every Wednesday or whenever we had YC, I would say, hey, let's trade Kevin Love. Get Kevin Love out of here. Let's get Paul George. No, you always said, no. I was high on Paul George, and you know this. I love Paul George. I think he would have.
You love him as much as Brandon Miller does.
Okay, listen. Paul George is so good when he's healthy. Yes. He is a monster. That is what we need. And you said throw in Okoro. I'll throw Okoro anywhere. He can play in China for all I care. Him and Dylan Brooks can start their own team for Christ's sake. I hate Okoro. Anyways, I love Paul George, and I don't hate trading Garland. I love DG. I think DG is a solid bucket getter when you need him to. He's like, it's like we're in the Portland situation kind of.
Yes, I completely agree. But by the way, I said it. DG came out small in that series as well.
Yeah.
So I came up with the idea. By the way, Jalen, I've been telling people this for 2 months, probably almost 3 now. At the end of that Knicks series, you remember Game 5 was on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
It was Knicks Cavs. Obviously, the Knicks. I thought the Cavs were going to come out and destroy them by 20 in Game 5 and then lose in Game 6. I just thought the Knicks maybe wanted to win it at home. But I was so disappointed by the way the Cavs came out with that energy in Game 5. So after the game, I literally laid in bed. I think I was texting you or I was texting another friend. I laid in bed and it dawned on me, ding, 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 you have to trade Darius Garland.
Yeah. He did not show up. Donovan didn't show up. You know who did show up? Jetty Osman. You know who else did show up? Karis LeVert. Two guys.
LeVert was okay. He had a really good game.
Yeah.
He had a really good game too. He didn't show up the rest of the games though. LeVert's numbers are inflated by his really good game too when the Knicks didn't even try.
Put your hatred aside for LeVert.
LeVert dribbles the ball off his foot almost every time he does, and he never passes. That's what drives me nuts about the guy.
Let's look at this here, guys. I'm pulling up a text from Brandon himself. When we re-sign, let's look at this. Quote: I don't understand the Karis LeVert re-signing. Dude drives me nuts. When I tell you Brandon gives so much crap to LeVert on a nightly basis, no matter what he does, he could put up 30, Brandon, and be like,
He still dribbles the ball off his foot every time he comes up the court.
It's okay. He's not meant to be a good player. He's meant to be a bench player. If he was meant to be an all-star, he would be an all-star.
The other thing too, Jalen, can we at least admit this is the year for JB? JB and his rotations, I keep saying drive me nuts. They do. The Cavs were the most frustrating team. I swear to God, I watched all basketball last year.
Nah, because JB Bickerstaff is horrible.
He is horrible. Oh, wait a minute. Wait, I may have gotten the wrong guy. I thought you were a JB fan. Because when I was saying fire JB, weren't you the one saying, no, we got to keep JB?
I did say that because I am very, very once I have a player on my team besides Isaac Okoro, screw you, leave my team. Isaac, if you ever see this, if me and Brandon ever have our own show on any sort of network and you're still in the NBA, you are not coming on my show. You will not be.
One day we will. One day we will. I promise you that.
You will not be a guest on our show. You are awful. I hate you. You can't shoot. Anyway. You let me down so much this year that I have the same amount of hatred for Isaac that you have for JB and LeVert combined, okay?
My JB hate is more than LeVert. I'm fine with LeVert. It's shit. I'm like, Jalen, people fire coaches all the time. Monty Williams got fired. Coach Bud got fired. Doc Rivers got fired. And we're still here with J.B. Bickerstaff, who I always said has the perfect last name because he really bickers with his staff.
Listen, I have watched basketball since I have been 2 years old. I have sat in front of the TV and watched these Cavs struggle with horrible head coaches. Horrible. So when we started winning, maybe I said, let's keep JB because we're winning again. We're getting back to that form. We're gonna win. He let me down. Okay, we lost in 5 on your home floor. This is not you. Your rotations are horrible. Lamar Stevens didn't see minutes. Isaac Okoro is starting for God knows why. He's the worst player I've ever seen. Give me Dylan Brooks over Okoro. Yeah, I said it. Listen.
He can shoot a little bit.
Well, yeah, and it won't hit the side of the rim or the backboard. Anyway, I said let's hold on to JB because we're winning now. Why would we stop? He let me down. Okay, he needs to go. I don't hate the guy. I really don't. Like I said, the only Cavalier I hate is Isaac. But he's just not the guy to win a championship with.
Like that clip from the Friends World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brandon's World podcast right here on YouTube.